Part 3, Gospel Recording begins. Joy Ridderhof. Joy Ridderhof was busy writing scripts for new Spanish records, and she was also making plans to return to Honduras. After 3 years of being sick, she thanked God that she felt well enough to travel again. But then someone asked her to make a record in the Navajo language. Joy only planned to make Spanish records. Navajo is a challenging language. It would take extra time to work with a translator to make a record in a language she couldn't even understand. What about her plans to return to Honduras? What if people kept asking her to make records in more languages, and she never got to finish her own plans? She prayed and realized God wanted her to do the Navajo record. She said, "Lord, I'll make recordings in as many languages as you want me to." She agreed to help with the Navajo record and anything else God guided her to do. As Joy worked on the Navajo record and the new Spanish records, it became obvious that she needed more help. God provided her friend Anne to help her with the work. After that, Anne usually traveled with Joy and helped her plan, organize, and make new recordings. Joy didn't have enough money to pay Anne. Sometimes she barely had enough money for herself. But they both prayed and trusted God to provide the money they needed to live while they worked every day on making and sending out records. Once, as Joy got ready to go to the recording studio, she realized she didn't have enough money to pay the studio. What would she do? Joy went to the studio and trusted God would provide, even though she had no idea where the money would come from. After the recording session was finished, the studio told Joy that they actually owed her money. Now she had exactly enough money to pay her debt. God provided again. Soon Joy and Anne began receiving letters addressed to Spanish Gospel Recordings. One of them was requesting 100 records from their organization. Joy and Anne hadn't thought of their work as an organization. They decided it was time to become an official organization with a name that described their work. They named it Gospel Recordings. They also decided Gospel Recordings needed its own recording studio because they were making so many records. How would God give them a building and all the equipment? Joy prayed about it. One day she looked out her window and realized she already had the answer. There was an empty shed in her backyard that would make a perfect recording studio. Joy got to work fixing it up and asked God to provide recording equipment for them. God did provide the recording equipment, and soon they learned how to use it. Now they were able to make even more records to help more people learn about Jesus. Then an organization called Wycliffe Bible Translators asked Joy to make recordings for a remote tribe of people in Mexico. But she didn't have any way of getting there. Joy didn't have a car, and there was a fuel shortage in the country because of World War II. Joy tried to buy gasoline for the drive, but they wouldn't sell her any. She sadly went home, wondering what to do. But when she got home, she found out that a rich doctor had brought a car and gasoline, and she could use it for the trip. Joy rejoiced that God had provided again. She went to Mexico and met with the people from the tribe to help them make a record. When it was finished, the people were amazed to hear their own voices on the gramophone recording telling the story of Jesus. Joy was using the current technology to reach people with the gospel who didn't have a written language or a Bible in their language. She made gospel recordings in 33 new languages while she was in Mexico. But now she had another problem. Most of these people didn't own gramophone machines to play the records. How could she help them get the technology they needed to listen to the gospel recordings? Joy Ridderhof.